Welcome to the Johnny Dell Football Academy podcast on the channel that's trying to answer the whys and hows of the game by talking through and dissecting game film and diving deeper to explain why the X's zig and the O's zag. I am Adam Marino, joined by Mr. Johnny Dell, and we are reminding you, as always, the most fun way to watch is on YouTube, where we go live. There you can comment into the live show. Be sure to hit the notification bell and turn on your notifications so you can be a part of the conversation. We also stream live on Facebook and X. Also, the audio versions are always found on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. Now, if you are live with us in the chat, it's probably because you are subscribed, you've hit the notification bell, and turned those notifications on. So, when sharing with your friends, be sure to let them know. We also love to hear from you outside of our live show. Email us at johnnydellsfootballacademy@gmail.com, and you can always check out the website jfa49.com, as it is the most fun way to support the channel. Also, the way we boost the chat and boost the algorithm is to type out hashtag JD49. Hashtag JD49, of course. Welcome in. It is a special edition, Labor Day edition. Just think, a week from today, it is going to be a Victory Monday.
Vickery?
Hickory dickory.
Oh, Victory Monday.
Victory. We got some super chats already coming in, getting the game day nachos from Hugo. Also, I know you said you didn't see it, but 49ers Throwback also had
He did. I see it on my phone. I don't see it here on the interface, so I'm sorry, 49ers Throwback. We will answer your question, though. We will bring it up. But big, huge thank you to Hugo with the very generous super chat. Thank you so much. I am getting ready for those game day nachos. I was getting it ready today. Sorry, gum's got to come out. I was spacing out.
You're on a podcast, Johnny. Yes,
because today I had some barbecue chicken quesadillas. I made some tonight. They were awesome. So I am so ready for the nachos this Sunday. It is happening. And speaking of that, I need y'all in the chat. I'm gonna do a little poll here. Adam tells me just go ahead and do this, but I've gotta run it by y'all. I gotta run it by y'all.
Yep.
There's been an opportunity that has been brought my direction with a platform, an emerging platform. This, don't worry, I'm not getting scammed. I have very well vetted this.
This is legit.
It is legit. Through an emerging platform to do a simultaneous broadcast with the game. It's on a different platform than YouTube or X. But what it does have is it's geared towards basically partisan commentating for live sports. So what it has is it's got a spoiler-free chat. It syncs you up to the game. You put in what second you are on the play clock, and it will sync you to my broadcast, so that you see everything that I do as a broadcast and in real time with the game where it is, and it syncs the chat. So if that is something that you are interested in seeing and viewing and seeing what's up on that, if you would be interested in watching that, it's free for you. It is completely free for you. It's just on a separate platform. Just let me know in the chat if that is something you are interested in, if that is something that we can get rolling. It is a big time commitment for me. Usually I'm just sitting on the couch helping my wife with the kids in and out of watching the games, and posting on X is usually what I'm doing. So to see to kind of come here and be in this space during that time would be a bit of a time commitment. So I just need to make sure that y'all would actually be interested. If it's going to be me and like my wife on the other side and Adam watching,
and
there's
parents.
no point in that. Yeah, and he's got it on his phone while they're watching with his parents while they're watching the 49ers games. That would be not as great. But let me know in the chat if you would be down for something like that. Going to 49ers Throwbacks question, he asked in his super chat, he asked who are to name your top 3 Seahawks killers. That's
a good way to start.
3 Seahawks killers. We are coming up to Seahawks week. Man, let me get a little little thingy on here.
Like
Just a
of all
second.
time, or are we saying for this game who are our three guys? What do you want to? How do you want to handle this,
I'm
Johnny?
thinking all time, like all time
Okay.
Seahawks killers.
Wow. See, here's the thing.
Here we
The
go.
Seahawks,
We're gonna get professional. I got the ticker rolling
The
now.
Seahawks
Now
were
we're real.
not. The Seahawks were not always in our division. So
No, so so let's pull up the trivia here. You cannot search this on your phone. What year did the Seahawks join the NFC West and the 49ers start playing them twice a year?
Man, I'll be honest. The 90s?
Adam is not correct on that. So chat, let us know. Let us know what year it was. We got to give him a little bit of a break in there, because you have to remember they're about 12 to 15 seconds behind our live interaction.
For sure.
So,
but man,
I'm gonna see. I need some answers in the chat here. I mean,
Greenlaw had that hit. Dr. Steve says 08. I don't think that's impossible. 08. 2002 49ers throwback says that's
more answers here.
I was going to say the late 90s, 2002.
Throwback being such the premier throwback guy, he has got it right. 2002, it was the 2002 season. The Niners had not even played Seattle in 5 years before that year.
Wow.
Yeah. So they went from being just kind of out there to now. Then they were moved over into the NFC West. That was when the Browns, I believe, that wasn't the year the Browns came in as an expansion team, because that was the year the 97 was when all the different expansions happened. I believe the Seahawks came over during the Texans expansion, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong on that, but I remember that happening, and I remember there was rumors about if T.O. was going to be left exposed to the expansion draft because of some things there. So 2002 is when the Seahawks came over and joined the NFC West. We swept them that year. And there were some close games. It was 28-21 the first meeting, 31-24 the second meeting. Then the Seahawks, coached by Mike Holmgren, went on a 3-year unbeaten streak against the 49ers. That was the dark ages, where it was the first game was 19-20, then 17-24. Then the 2004 season, I was there for this game, September 26th. I was in Seattle. 34-0 Seattle. That was Julian Peterson came in. He was making a name for himself. That was a horrible game. I was there. It was the first time San Francisco was shut out in a game in 27 years. It was 420 regular season games they had gone with not being shut out, and it happened in that game, and I was there wearing a personalized 4XL jersey, because they used to do, when they did personalized jerseys back in the day, you could only get them in one size, 4XL. So I'm literally wearing a poncho of a jersey at this game. I even had like one of the gold starter jackets I was wearing over the top of it. I looked ridiculous, and we got absolutely stomped.
Ridiculous on the field too.
And they did not beat Seattle again until 2006, swept Seattle that year, and then lost both games the next year. And then we're back and forth. It was kind of back and forth. And then you go through the Harbaugh era, and then you hit the post-Harbaugh era, and really the end of the Harbaugh era, where they went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games in a row that Seattle beat us. 10 games in a row. So, yeah, where they beat us.
Yeah, this is bad.
That was why we all hated Richard Sherman so much, like, because he was there and they beat us 10 times in a row. But since then, it's been back and forth. We've had our moments; they've had their moments. They went 2 years where they swept us. We went
We
two
swept them.
years and an extra playoff game where we swept them. So here we are. We split the games last year. This is a new era, and we're looking forward to this game. But for me, if I'm looking at all-time Seahawk killers, I'm gonna say number one, Brock Purdy. I'm gonna say Brock Purdy is my number one Seahawks killer. The reason why is during his games against Seattle, he's had 6 games against Seattle. He's 5-1, and he is 114 for 169 with 67.5% completion percentage, 1,540 yards during that time, so over 250 yards a game.
Yeah,
9.1 yards per attempt, 12 passing touchdowns to 3 interceptions, so a 4-1 touchdown to interception ratio, a passer rating of 112.5, and only 8 sacks in 6 games. He has also ran for another 81 yards and 2 touchdowns. So in 6 games, he has scored 14 touchdowns against the Seahawks. That is 2.66 per game that he has scored against the Seahawks himself. So Brock Purdy, I'm going to say, is the number one Seahawks killer. Number one Seahawks killer.
I'm gonna chime in with a certain play that just defined our season, and it's Dre Greenlaw with the hit that at the I'm not gonna say 1 yard line, I'll say 1 inch line. That was a crazy situation, and just for that reason, because it's like in 49ers lore, I'm going to say Dre Greenlaw is one of those guys just because of what that meant at the time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And so that's who my number 2 Seahawks killer is, Dre Greenlaw. Because for that moment. I mean, not just that moment, but that moment definitely is really big. Just 1 second. I'll turn it back to you to kind of paint the picture of that game. What was on the line there, Adam Marino?
So what I remember is, man, I was so fired up for that game. I remember watching it, and it was for the NFC West, if I'm not mistaken, and it was not looking good towards the end because they were just marching down the field, and you just thought like, oh, we have done this to so many teams over the last 20, 30 years of these like epic comebacks. And we just felt like, oh, it's Seattle, they're going to do it. And just that hit on the tight end, I can't remember who it was. If I recall, it wasn't a big name guy who caught the ball, but he tried to stretch, he tried to turn over. And I mean, when you see the replay, it is literally inches from being a touchdown. And Greenlaw, he's one of those guys that gives his all on every play, and you just see it. And this was no exception. He just came over and flattened the play, and it was over. And I just remember waiting for the replay.
Yeah, that wasn't just for the first in the NFC division. The 49ers had first place in the NFC on the line with that as well.
Okay. So the bye and all that.
So so if we lost against Seattle, we still made the playoffs, but it was going to be on the road throughout the playoffs.
Yeah.
And Dre Greenlaw was a rookie. He was really only starting because of the injury to Quan Alexander. If we remember that, Quan Alexander was signed to a $14 million a year contract to be the will linebacker. And he got hurt, tore his pectoral during the year, and Dre Greenlaw stepped in and was playing so
I forgot
well.
that. I forgot that part.
Yeah, most of us forget that because we just remember Dre and that moment at the end of the year and him playing well in the playoffs of like that he was just the guy. He was a dude. And so you forget that they didn't plan on that. He was a 5th round pick. They had gone and gotten Quan Alexander because Reuben Foster was supposed to be the will, and he did not work out. Malcolm Smith was going to be the Mike. He was their big free agent signing. Then he had gotten hurt. Then Fred Warner emerged. And so then they were left with Malcolm Smith was kind of the fat that got cut in there because he he just couldn't make his way up the depth chart and wasn't a Will. He was more of that Mike. They tried him at Sam. He ended up going and signing with the Raiders after that when the Raiders were bringing the Seattle scheme there. And so then you had Fred Warner, and it was supposed to be Quan Alexander after Reuben Foster had all the legal troubles, and they cut him. So they went, well, we need to keep investing in our linebackers. We had that first round pick that didn't work out. So they got rid of him, signed Quan Alexander, drafted Dre Greenlaw in the 5th round, and then he emerged after Quan tore his pec. He was reaching out to make a tackle, an arm tackle on a guy's leg, and got that. And so we don't remember that history because Dre was so amazing and so good that he wiped out all that history. Like, we just forget that even happened. Like, that is an abyss that we don't look into. So, I say Dre Greenlaw, because of that moment, made us forget about all that other history in a Seahawks game. He's got to be your number two Seahawks killer.
So let me ask you, between Frank Gore and George Kittle, that's where my mind goes. Does your mind go there at all? Or do you have a solid number 3?
I think my number 3 really just has to be George Kittle. Because if you look at George Kittle's career numbers versus Seattle, so understand he's played 14 games against Seattle, 14 games, and he has 58 catches for 845 yards and 7 touchdowns.
Yeah, he loves playing Seattle.
I mean, we are talking 60 yards a game. That is good enough for nearly 1,000-yard season in the old 16-game year. That is 1,000-yard season in a 17-game season. So against just Seattle, he has a 1,000-yard season. Like that.
Remember that
is his
screen?
numbers versus that.
What was that screen called?
Oh, it's the old double screen. We've run it. Mike Shanahan used to run that back. Actually, Mike Holmgren used to run that back in the late 80s.
You've shown it.
Mike Shanahan ran it in the early 90s with Steve Young, and like it happened. Kyle ran it a couple times, and people were like, "Oh my gosh!" Like, and I was sitting there going, "This is really old. Like, this is a really old play." But yeah, he ran that double screen, and you look at his game. December 5th, 2021 against the Seahawks. It was in a loss, but 9 catches for 181 yards and 2 touchdowns. That is wild. That is wild. But I would say George Kittle is your number 3 Seahawks killer. That's who it is for me. Frank Gore, I would like to say Frank Gore, but you have to remember, Frank Gore also experienced a whole lot of losses against the Seahawks. And because, I mean, they stymied him. Now, I will say that Frank Gore, here's where the honorable mention comes in, because I believe it is against Seattle in that 2006 season that Frank Gore set the franchise rushing record for a single game.
Against Seattle?
Yeah. I want to say it was the 2006 season. I'm going to look this up real quick.
All right, I will remind you guys to, now that we're really getting into the season, make sure that you take your phone, and if you see people out and about wearing 49ers gear, the best place to do it is obviously if anyone's heading to the game. I know I'm going to do that in Indianapolis, but take your phone, show people the channel, show people the website, and show them one of your favorite videos. That's the way you can help the channel. We love talking to more faithful. Johnny, you got it there?
Yeah, just one sec. I'm running the numbers here. He's calculating. This is wild. Yeah. I mean, if you look at Frank Gore's 2006 versus Seattle, let's see. All right. I'm doing
the one.
Quick computations here. This is where the super chats can derail a show in a good way. Like we
haven't even started the show. We're 20 minutes in
everything. Let's see.
Yeah, this was a good start to the show. I'll give another reminder. If you are a fan of college football, I want to remind you that Sports Idiot Nation, the episode today, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday are new episodes of Sports Idiot Nation. And we talk all things college football. So anything you want to know, We do have the game coming up later tonight. Bill Belichick is the head coach of the North Carolina Tar Heels. They play TCU here coming up in about 40 minutes. So tune into Sports Idiot Nation as well. Shifty's checking in, multiple 150 plus yard games for Frank Gore. I get they usually lost, but you could still be classified as a killer if you still dominate, even if your team loses, technically. But
Okay, so just think about how dominating Frank Gore's 2006 season was, 2006 against Seattle was. This is gonna blow your mind. Okay, so total rushes 53, total yards 356 in two games.
Oh,
Two
God.
touchdowns.
Oh my.
6.7 yards per carry.
Oh.
If we extrapolate this out
to
a 17 game season,
that's fake. That's like three. That's like I can't even. I'm not carrying the one. That's over 2,500 yards, right?
Yeah. Just give me a second here. So, if we extrapolate this out to a 17 game season, that's 450 carries. One, it's wild that people talk about Christian McCaffrey having too much of a workload at like 280 carries on the year. Frank Gore was regularly over 400 carries a year. 450 carries, 3,026 yards, 17 touchdowns.
That's just rushing.
And that
what about all his catches?
That is just yeah. So receiving, let's see, that's 8 catches for how many yards did he get here? Quick, 26 and so 60 yards receiving, 30 a game times 17. Let's see, we're going to be at 510 yards. 510 yards receiving, so 3,536 all-purpose yards against Seattle. That was what his pace was in 2016. That's how much he dominated Seattle that year. So, I mean,
come on,
the biggest,
at least.
it's at least an honorable mention, because with George Kittle, there's just more wins. With Frank Gore, Fair. He's got like 5 career wins versus Seattle, and George Kittle, I think, has 6 or 7, or he's got at least 6 because he's been there.
That's fair.
I think it's 8 or 9 wins for George against Seattle. So, like, I mean, it's just redonkulous that 2006 year and Frank Gore in that 2006 year. Like, we do not really appreciate how good Frank Gore was in there. I saw Brian Baldinger post something from the coach's film from 2006, and I've been jealous ever since. I've been beating down every tree I know to try and get a hold of the 49ers 2006 coaches film, just to show everybody how good Frank Gore was. I mean, when you talk about 312 attempts for 1,695 yards rushing is just wild on that team. Like, that team was not great. But yeah. So there it is. Your 3 Seahawks killers.
Now, we have some Seahawks killers that may be available to us. So let's get into, Monday, September 1st. We have some news out of camp, and we want to go through that. Who do you want to talk about first? Who are you excited about?
Well, I think the moment that has really been pushed by the 49ers staff, and I think the front office.
Right, it's Jauan Jennings.
It's Jauan Jennings. I mean, the front office clearly has said
they put the clamps on, man.
That they were going to put the clamps on Jauan Jennings. So when you go from not even working on a side field because of a calf injury to this, I don't believe you that you were really hurt. I don't. Like, this was clearly a contract stalemate. This is clearly something that they have that he was trying to put the screws to the 49ers during this first 5-game window.
And it didn't work.
This is what this is about. Well, I think what the thing that gummed up the works for Jauan Jennings was two things. One, Russell Gage coming back. And so Russell Gage, well, a number of things. Russell Gage, I think, is going to be back, and he knew that. Two,
I think it was Kendrick Bourne.
Well, that's what I was getting at.
Okay.
I think them bringing in Kendrick Bourne, and
it scared him
saying,
straight.
Okay, that because Kendrick Bourne is basically Jauan Jennings 1.0. Jauan Jennings is Kendrick is Jauan Jennings 1.3, but Kendrick Bourne was the same sort of body type and everything. So they're bringing him in for a visit, and this clearly says we are more willing to trade you for a 6th or 7th round pick and sign Kendrick Bourne to $10 million a year than we are paying you $20 million a year. That's more advantageous to us,
which is
fair. Which is. And I think, and they were going to trade him to a team that wasn't going to compete this year, I think. And they were also going to trade him to a team that wasn't going to pay him. And so he wouldn't have the leverage on. So he was going to immediately not have that situation. And so it's kind of like, well, I tried my best to leverage on him. I needed some of these other situations to not be available, but they are. And so it's either I'm going to be on the losing end of this, or I suit up for the 49ers week 1. And the 49ers didn't blink with Jauan Jennings. And I think this is the right move, because you have Russell Gage coming back. They went and signed Marquez Valdes-Scantling. They traded for Sky Moore. Now, I mean, look, Sky Moore is not going to be a big part of this offense at all, but at least they were saying we are willing to bring in somebody else to be ready for you to walk. And we're bringing in Kendrick Bourne for a visit. When suddenly all of those things happen and your leverage as a player starts to really dry up, and they say, hey, you know what? The Saints are really interested in you.
They may not win a game this year.
And you go, oh, yeah.
Maybe I'll play with Brock Purdy. Yeah.
I mean, good offense. My calf is feeling a lot better. I think I could give it a go tomorrow.
Coach, I'm good.
I put some icy hot on it. I'm good. That Bengay is working wonders. I'm ready to go, Coach. That really feels like what's happened here. So kudos for the 49ers for not blinking in that moment and doing what they need to do. Plus, great news for the 49ers that you have Jauan Jennings, who is a very reliable target. You get to pair him with Ricky Pearsall. You're going to have Russell Gage out there on the field. Then we're going to see what's left after that. Jordan Watkins might be back. You have Sky Moore. I would not be surprised if MVS is activated for the game with Demarcus Robinson not being able to be out there. They also have the potential with Robbie Chosen to elevate him later in the week. So I feel so much better about where the 49ers are at after today than I did about a week and a half ago. 10 days ago, I was sitting there.
I know.
Now I feel so much better, because not only do you get Jauan Jennings back, he's back. He's ready to go. He's going to be ready to go week 1. Just don't pull something this week. Make it through the game. We need you to do that. You get Dominic Puni back. He was back at practice today. So he did. This is a bonus practice. So also understand, these guys being back for a bonus practice is extra good, because they didn't have to do this practice. This is an extra practice over everything. So if you were going to just, be like, well, let's be extra cautious, you would hold somebody out of today's practice. The fact that all of these guys came back in this one, huge sign for the 49ers. Also got Kalia Davis, who when Kalia Davis and CJ West were playing defensive tackle for the 49ers during the preseason, our run defense looks so much better. And I know a lot of people were really high on Valdez, but there's some deficiencies there. I would be okay with him as a rotational piece. I understand why they have him on the practice squad. The upside he doesn't have near the upside as an Alfred Collins, so you're willing to put up with the lumps that Alfred Collins is going to take. Valdez just does not have that same upside. So, but CJ West looked like a day 1 starter when he was in there in the preseason. Kalia Davis looked like the Kalia Davis that we thought he could be this whole time. He's got to stay healthy, but he's there. That's a huge boon for this defensive line, because now you're looking at an interior defensive line rotation of CJ West, Kalia Davis, Jordan Elliott, Alfred Collins. You feel way better about that. Yetur Gross-Matos came back again this week. So you have Micah Williams, Yetur Gross-Matos, Nick Bosa, and Bryce Huff. Those are your 4. Man. Like you're not having to bring Robert Beal in. That alone should tell us how much better our rotation is. You also have Sam Okwanu. So Robert Beal is like the bottom of the depth chart of your defensive line, period. So just like that appearance of the defensive line tells us this is a much improved defensive line off last year, and it's getting healthy at the right time. Russell Gage came back. Russell Gage, we have to remember, was very dynamic before his injury. That this was a kid who was trending upwards. He had a couple 700+ yard seasons, was trending in the right direction, really coming on and having some explosive moments. And then he tears his patellar tendon. And and that has taken him 2 years to really come back from. He wasn't 100% the next year when he was with the Buccaneers. He got cut in training camp. The 49ers picked him up late in the year as he got to 100%. He was getting closer to that, picked him up on the practice squad last year. They got to see him. Then they signed him to a futures contract. And then now he comes around this time and he's on the active roster. And it has everything, the reports out was that he was looking very good in camp, that he's looking like the Russell Gage of the pick, the first round pick that was chosen a long time ago. So really looking good with that. So the 49ers, if this is any sort of time to say, okay, I feel good about my team going into week 1. This is it. It may not look that way by next Monday. We may get 18 more injuries, but you're getting guys healthy at the right time. And they have gone. The biggest thing is they have gone like a week of doing football activities without having injuries. So maybe these guys are learning what they need to do beforehand to avoid the injuries. Maybe they're getting better hydration. Maybe the training staff said, hey, maybe we should stop injuring all our guys all the time. So that's the way it looks. We'll see how it goes. I'm excited. I hope you see Jordan Watkins come back for week 1. That would be awesome.
Yeah, we're really excited for week 1. Obviously, the chat is super fired up. I love it. Keep in mind, the idea for the season is Monday and Friday still. And so Friday, we'll get into the real nitty-gritty of the game. I personally still want to see what comes out of, practice and the rest of Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I kind of want to see how that goes, what news comes up, if anything. One thing I want to ask Johnny, and the chat was asking a little bit earlier too, are we just then closing the chapter on Kendrick Bourne? How does that work? There's just no space for him then.
Yeah, I would not. Considering that he left without a contract, I would be surprised now if he actually signed.
He was scheduled to go somewhere else too. I don't remember where. Yeah, the
Commanders. He's going to visit
that's
Washington.
Right. No, that's right. That's right. I do remember that now.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, look, this was merely about forcing Jauan's hand. I really do believe that they pulled him in and said, "Look, Jauan, we love you. We want you to be part of this team.
But
we want to win with you. We have cap considerations that we gave you a contract last year. We're not doing this. We're just not. Like, this is our business decision. Like, we have looked at everything. This is our business decision. You can either be a part of this team or you can choose to take your business somewhere else. But here's what teams are offering for you. This is who we're going to go with. And we're going to sign Kendrick Bourne. So either you are going to be out there in practice today or this happens." And clearly, with him being out in practice today and the bro hugs with Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch, that was what the decision they made. He said, all right, look, I get it, man. I get it. Let's go win. You do the business side, it's business. And so they just said, that's what we're going to do. And so Kendrick Bourne may have come in and they said, hey, look, we don't have a roster spot open right now, but if one opens up here over the next few weeks, we'll keep you in touch. Thanks for coming in. Hope you enjoyed a first class meal on the airline on us. Have fun on your flight back to Washington, D.C. this afternoon. So I'm pretty sure that's the way things went down. That's how I envision it going down.
Yeah, makes sense. You mentioned John Lynch, and I wanted to get into something he said because the way that it's being interpreted online is not necessarily how I would take it. So I want to ask your opinion, and I'll read it if I have to. Did you see his comments about the running back situation and mainly Isaac Guerrero?
I haven't had time to catch up with that this morning or today.
Okay.
I was coming back from the campground this afternoon, so
Yeah.
I was pulling a 31-foot trailer on the way back.
You came in on 2 wheels, as you mentioned to me earlier. Yes,
to the office. Yeah.
So here's what he said, because I didn't take it as well. I want to get your opinion on what this means. Here's what he says: the idea of going with a rookie as your number 2 back going into a season when he barely had practices, that's a really tough thing to do. So we remain high as can be on Jordan James, think he's going to be a fantastic player. Isaac Guerrero is still in the mix, but we felt like it was important to have another back. It's just the way things go at that position, and we feel like there's some unique things we can do with Brian in there. Obviously, they brought in Brian Robinson Jr., so that's what he's referring to. Here's what the whole world took that as. That it's bad news for Guerrero and that he's going to see his way down the depth chart. I didn't take it as that. Am I missing something?
Yeah, you're missing something. That's pretty clear that he's going to be number 4 on the depth chart. So, and look, we talked about this when Jordan James was drafted, and we started watching his tape. What did I say? I said I felt that Jordan James was so much farther ahead as far as understanding scheme than Isaac Guerrero was. What I saw from Jordan James's Oregon tape was so much cleaner as far as understanding his reads, how to see the run game, how to see the passing game, how to see the pass blocking game than Isaac Guerrero was during his rookie year. That I was going, okay, James is brought in. To me, it was like right now he's your number 2 running back. That unless Isaac Guerrero really takes a big step forward, Isaac Guerrero is your number 3. And I think they were hoping that Guerrero would take an even bigger jump with the push from Jordan James. But 2 things happened. 1, Isaac Guerrero got hurt. 2, Jordan James got hurt. And so when those things happened, they said, okay, Jordan James is farther ahead than Isaac Guerrero is. And even what they saw in the practices. Isaac Guerrero is a home run hitter, but man, he left a lot of yards on the table last year. We talked about that last season. We went through some of the tape.
Missing the holes. And
missing the holes, not setting up his rushing lanes, not being in the right spots for in the passing game. I mean, he can do some really special things with the ball in his hands, but getting what you do when you don't have the ball in your hands or before you're supposed to do what you're supposed to do is a big deal. So I think they clearly, once Jordan James went down, they said, we got to bring in a veteran. So they first brought in Jeff Wilson, or really brought in Azir. Totally blanking on his name.
Oh, he got hurt.
Yeah, he got hurt. So they then brought in Jeff Wilson. So he was Amir. He was supposed to be the number 2, and then they brought in Jeff Wilson to see what kind of tread is left on that tire. And as he was in, I don't know if they didn't really like it. They just felt like, is there more upside out there? And when Brian Robinson became available, they're saying, okay, I think there's more tread on that tire, for 1. 2, I think he brings a little bit more explosiveness there. And so let's bring him in. We have a chance to go get him. Let's go get him. And he's going to be our number 2. And then, so what John Lynch is clearly saying is like, look, it's really tough to go into the season knowing that if Christian McCaffrey goes down, you're onto a rookie in Jordan James to handle all of this stuff. That's really good, because we saw that with the 49ers last year, was that there was a clear difference in that they were using their offense had changed so much to fit. Yes, Amir Abdullah. My brain is not working really well.
Thanks, Shifty.
Thanks.
Follow Shifty, by the way. Follow him.
That they had tailored a lot of things in the offense around having Christian McCaffrey and what he did in the pass game and using him so much as a chess piece, moving him around in the motions and creating these unbalanced sets and how you do this and how you account for him and how all this stuff happens. And then he's not there and Jordan James is there and the offense is just not nearly as efficient. I know there's a lot of Jordan Mason truthers out there. I was not as high on him. He was a good player. They weren't going to pay him, but it was clearly the offense was not functioning correctly as it was intended to because of the drop off from. Now you're going to have a drop off from Christian McCaffrey to anybody, but when the skill set changes so much, when it's not a congruent skill set, it's a very different type of back in both the run and the pass game and the blocking and everything that he does. You sit there and say, okay, because if you go back and watch the 49ers games all the way up to the end of the Buffalo game, the next week, the offense was very different. So, like, you saw a lot more play action come back because you couldn't affect teams with the running back as a receiver in the same way. And so it was very much like, okay, we're going to bring this. We had to shift back. Now it's like there's a concerted effort to say we're going to try and get congruency with our running back room. We want guys that are all around backs. Like you look at everybody in their running back
to right in this offense.
Amir Abdul was a decent receiver. You got Brian Robinson's been a reliable receiver and is very good in the pass game or in pass blocking. Jordan James is a very good receiving back. If you go and look at what he did at Oregon, Isaac Guerrero with the blazing speed, and we saw some of his big catches down the year last year. So like all of these things you're looking for more congruency of play style in that running back room. Now they needed somebody who was going to be able to handle all of that wasn't a rookie behind Jordan James. So when they say that, clearly Isaac Guerrero is the number 4 running back. Now, what we also saw from last year is clearly your number 4 running back can see the field because that was Isaac Guerrero last year. He was the number 4 running back. Jordan James is your number 3 running back. Elijah Mitchell was your number 2. We always forget that last year. Wow. Elijah Mitchell was the number 2 running back last year. But he was he got hurt a couple times during training camp and missed the entire season. Jordan Mason was the number 3 running back. Isaac Guerrero was the number 4. So we forget about those things. So that's how I feel what his comments say.
Yeah. Good point about, you forget about some of these guys. Okay, I want to shift to offensive line. The chat has already shifted there, so we might as well take it there. I do have some questions there. Moss and Barch and these guys. First of all, can I get a prediction of how you see it shaking out and why?
Well, I don't think it's even as much a prediction as it is. It's very clear. Ben Barch is your starting left guard. That Connor Colby is your backup guard, your number 1 guard. They've worked him at both spots so that he can play multiple positions. I think the upside that they saw in both Colby and Moss is why Matt Hennessy is still on the team, because to keep both of those guys, you had to have a dedicated backup center. That Nick Zakelj was no longer as valuable because he could play both guard and center, even though he did neither one very well. Now you have that option with Connor Colby and Drew Moss that you feel really good about. You know they have a lot of upside, but there's some things they got to work on. And while they're not in the starting lineup, however long that is, again, hopefully Ben Barch stays healthy. Ben Barch has just struggled staying healthy his entire career. I love Ben Barch. I love what he brings as an offensive lineman. I've been high on Ben Barch for a long time. Dieter Kurtenbach has been really high on as he put it, he goes, I love the Barch. And you talk to guys that have been around him and they say, Ben Barch, there's a lot to love about Ben Barch. He's just got to stay healthy. He's got to be able to stay on the field. Should he go down? I don't feel as horrible about Connor Colby out there. Of course, Connor Colby, we have to also keep in mind, this is a late round pick. I mean, wasn't a really highly touted offensive lineman coming out. This isn't a no-brainer home run hit. If you hit a starter with Connor Colby, we are talking about like one of the best late round draft picks the 49ers have ever had. Obviously, I know Brock Purdy was a late round pick, but we would be sitting there saying this, this is like hitting on Jesse Sapolu in the 11th round sort of a thing. So
11th round, yeah.
Like that's what it's kind of like is where he would be picked at the player slot is like this 15th or 16th round back in Jesse's day. Because of there's just a lot more teams now. But so we can be really high on these guys. Remember, it was also preseason. He wasn't facing a lot of starters.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot of reps. They didn't have a lot of tape on him to say, okay, this kid, if you attack him this way on this set, he's going to step here and he's out and you can be out of balance and you can hit him with the counter on this. Like they didn't have a lot of that stuff. So I would like to not have to have Connor Colby out there. He's definitely your number 3 guard behind Puni and Barch. Drew Moss, he's got great lateral movement. Doesn't bring the most people moving. He's got to get an NFL body. That's what I see with Drew Moss, is that he's got to build strength and an ability there, which was something that I even saw in his college tape. Alfred Collins took him for a ride a number of times when they played each other. He's got to build some strength, because if he's out there a lot, I think you're going to see a lot of him being in Brock Purdy's lap off some bull rushes. That's going to happen very, very often. And both those guys got to be a little more aware of some NFL rush schemes. They're going to see more than they did in college. College, there's usually limited because guys can only learn so many rush pressure paths, different combinations. While they're in college, there's so many more that they can face when you're in the NFL.
For sure, man. I was just thinking at this time next week, we will be patiently awaiting for you to get your video done so that we can dig in and see it. Like, we're getting excited. Remember, this channel goes through the hows and whys of the game. You can check out some of these older videos that has so many views and just check out what Johnny does. 49ers throwback though, asking a question. Let's get into some Robert Saleh and what do you see? He said, he's definitely evolved, and we actually saw some different packages in the preseason, didn't we?
Not really.
A little bit with the blitzing.
It looks like it's because it's been so long. Absence makes the heart grow fonder.
Oh, is that what it is?
We haven't seen Robert Saleh since 2020. Remember, after that, then he went and was the Jets. So we've had D'Amico Ryans in 2021 and 2022. And
he was great.
And then
he was great.
Which it was based on the same system, but D'Amico came in and made some changes. It wasn't exactly all the same stuff. And then Steve Wilkes came in and it was quite a bit different. We saw very little of the packages that Robert Saleh had. Then you had Nick Sorensen, who had almost no blitz packages or any sort of change up in packages. And now you're coming back to Saleh. So it's been a long time since we've watched Robert Saleh's scheme. And everything that he showed in preseason has been stuff that they'd ran in the past. He didn't bring out, because it was basically like, well, teams already know I have this, so they're going to be prepared for it. So there's no reason to hide it. Like they're right. They're all they got to do is go back to 2019, 2020. They all have the catalogs. They can look at my Jets tape from that. They'll look at stuff before then. Because what they're going to have is they're going to have a playlist of like 500 plays of Robert Saleh's blitz packages. And so they're going to have all the mug looks, and then they'll run them just, they can get through them in a few hours. And so, they will have everything collated and categorized already. That's what all those quality control coaches are for. But yeah, you have, like, we didn't see anything new. He did say that he was keeping some stuff in the back pocket. What you tend to see is there's about 50-50 man coverage versus when they blitz versus matching zones. So we don't just do like spot drop zones when we blitz, we do matching zones. So like one of the more common that we have, we'll bring that double mug look, and the linebacker that the center slides to, that which double mug look is you're going to have both linebackers over the A gap on either side of the center, and whoever the center slides to, that guy is going to drop into coverage, and he's got to pick up the final number 3 receiver who's short and shallow. anything in breaking from the final number 3 shallow. So that's where they go to pick up, and they match them. They don't just pick them up like staying in their way. They're going to match them on that. The idea is you're only going to have to cover for 2 seconds. And then you have a safety who picks up the number 3 on anything vertical. Your outside corner is going to pick up the number 1, and then you usually have a safety or a slot guy over there that's going to pick up the final number 2. So that's what we do. It's a pattern matching is what a lot of times it's called, but it's zone matching, where these guys are in a zone, and the first kind of guy to get into their zone, they're going to match on that. So there's different ways that they do that. But because we do so many other things backing out of that, teams can't just show up and say, okay, now we're going to run 3 slants over the middle, because we know that's going to be, because the moment you do that, Saul is going to back out into cover 2 zone or across the board, and your quarterback's going to be sitting there going, and have nowhere to throw at the ball, and then he's going to get sacked. So we're going to see a lot of variation. That's the biggest thing is I expect all of this stuff. Saleh usually had a blitz rate, I believe it was in the 30s. Was where it was, and that most of that was on third down. Like third down, it was about a 50-50 blitz, don't blitz sort of rate. Is that he really kept it balanced and was always trying to keep them off guard of if you're going to get zone, if you're going to get man, if you're going to get a blitz with a matching zone. First down is very, very predictable. You're going to get mostly cover 3 zone. Like that's going to be like 75% of the time. And then like 10% of the time, more like 50% of the time. 50% of the time, you're going to get cover 3 zone. Then like 25% of the time, you're going to get cover 1 man, which is going to present very similar. So both will bring an 8th element into the box. You're going to stop the run, but you're going to have a couple different things there. Some things that people do all the time to beat cover 3 zone you're ready for that with man. But that's what I expect. This is very, very base heavy cover 3, cover 1. Then third down, get to third down, earn the right to rush the passer, really be able to throw in your stunts, your twists, your blitz packages, and mix up your coverages on the back end. I think it's going to be really great. So that's how I kind of see things going forward. But we'll get into a little bit more of that on Friday.
Yes, I will. I wanted to mention to the chat that there's been a lot of good questions that if we talk about it now, Friday's show, guys, will not be very good.
Just going to be a hype show.
Like, we're just going to like, woo. It's not going to be, I'm trying to get some views for Johnny. We got to hold some things back. We got to, plus, again, like I mentioned, I want to see how these next 3 days go. What if someone pulls up with a hammy? What if someone for the Seahawks pulls up with a hammy? Like, we got to wait and see until we
we don't need to go back to the days when like Jerick McKinnon tore his ACL in the Saturday walkthroughs before week 1 when the season started. JR Madrano coming in with the super chat. He's got the question.
Hey. Yeah. What do you think of Saleh's vision for Collins?
Did y'all hear Adam's horn? I didn't. I don't think it actually came through. Oh, there it goes. There it goes. I saw you press the button and I didn't hear anything. He says, what do you think Saleh's vision is for Collins? I think Saleh's vision is one of trait projection. I really do. I think it's going to be hard for us. I expect a lot of Alfred Collins is a bust talk this year. I really do. Like, I've already just resolved myself to that.
Really?
I think I really do. Like, I
don't think you've mentioned that this is the first time
I haven't. No. I mean, but I've just like come to terms with that's going to be a lot of the talk, because here's what you have to remember. So one, Robert Saleh has mentioned these things in his pressers. You have to really, really pay attention, like listen carefully to what they say. John Lynch has talked about this as well. They've talked about different players, and they say, sometimes it's a player has a certain trait that we see. And we like, it might be really quick feet, and we really like that, but we don't want to get too much into the specifics on it. Like, they don't want to get you into that. But when I've scouted Alfred Collins, and then he talks about him getting his feet underneath him, and he talks about that, he's making this technique transition and everything. I'm like, okay. And that's going to be an uphill climb for him. I go, okay. And he said, and we knew some of that coming in. Well, that tells me then that they knew this wasn't a plug and play guy. This wasn't like this guy understands everything about the scheme and he's going to be polished and we plug him in and all of a sudden we're running and we're doing great. No, They clearly have said there are some traits here that we absolutely love that he can do that not everybody has. And so we want to use him this way, but he's going to take a while to get acclimated to that in the NFL, especially because they knew he wasn't going to get OTAs. They knew he wasn't going to get a mini camp. They knew that it was going to take his training camp, a full training camp, and then some to make all these transitions. That tells me that he was very much a trait projection pick. So what do we look at that, and what do I look at when I look back to all of his Texas tape? Because I watched every snap of his from Texas. I look at that the guy had an insane wingspan, 97th percentile wingspan, and they love length from their defensive tackles. Think of DeForest Buckner. They love DeForest Buckner. They loved what he could do in the stunts and the twists of being able to reach out and bear hug everybody. That his length, that he could one gap and he could stay where he was and then reach out and grab a running back with that giant wingspan. Now his gaps cover so much more ground because of his huge wingspan. He is able to press and keep the engagement where he wants it to be with the offensive lineman. That allows you to do certain things, as in your slants, in where you move him, in where you put him. You can play him in a number of different spots. He's got really quick feet. That means you can do all these different stunts and twists with him, and you have all this arm length. So all of these physical traits tell me that you love what you can ask him to do within a scheme, but he's got to learn that whole side. So what do I think Saleh's vision is for Collins? It's going to be as a developmental player to develop into that real long 3 technique. They love a 3 technique with long arms. They really love that. And so that is what they envision for Collins. He has got to learn how to do that with getting his feet underneath him and learning the steps and because he was not asked to be a penetrator at Texas. It was anchor 2 gap. So that means anchor, hold, you peek, you read. And I saw a ton of that on tape, and then you disengage. They want guys in the backfield. They want to establish the defensive line in the backfield every play. And they want defensive linemen who are going to get so far they can reach out and grab that running back before he gets even going, that they can reach around and grab a quarterback, that they can just push through. And if you collapse the pocket, you reach past your offensive lineman and grab the quarterback, you get your hands up in the passing lanes and you clog those things up. Like, that's all the stuff that they really like from him, but it's going to be a long road for Alfred Collins. So I think he's going to be a rotational piece, especially to start the year. He could be the 3rd defensive tackle out, maybe even the 4th. And there's going to be talk immediately of him being a bust, but understand they're trying to give him a runway is what they're trying to do. And that's what that's what it's about. So that's a very long answer for a very short question.
No, but that totally makes sense. And again, we haven't talked about him in that way. So it's good to talk through that. So reminder about Friday. Fridays are really going to be fun because we'll dive in to the details of the matchups, talk through basically 80% of the questions that you guys asked will be answered. Like, what do you think about this? Are we going to get to Sam Darnold? All those types of questions. That's what we will get into. I'll ask you, Johnny, are you interested in Bill Belichick coaching tonight? Will you catch any of it? No.
Look, he is there for one very 24-year-old reason.
Yeah. And just to buy time to get back in the NFL. Yeah, he's buying time.
I don't think he wants to get back in the NFL. Look, dude's like 72 years old. I mean, come on. When Bill Walsh was like 58 and hired, people were like, I don't know, Bill's a little old.
No, Don Shula. That's the reason. Don Shula. He has a chance to become the all-time wins leaders. He is one decent season away. And I just think when you're that close, why not? He doesn't seem like that kind of guy, but I think that's what is happening. And I will not be surprised if he's one and done at Carolina and he gets them back on the map. He's gotten some players. His whole roster is new. They have a favorable schedule. I think North Carolina is going to be good. and then he's going to find an NFL team and try to break the record for most wins coached all time. That's what I think. We'll see. We'll see what happens, but kickoff is here soon.
As far as the idea of am I worried about Sam Darnold? No, I'm just going to say outside of maybe the worst play call in 49ers defensive history, one of that gave us. Justin Jefferson like a 99-yard touchdown pass. Outside of that, Sam Darnold last year against our defense last year was 16-25 for 169 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception.
Yeah, besides that one play. Yeah, it wasn't all that great.
I mean, if you told me that Sam Darnold was going to be 16-25, which is 64% completion percentage.
He carried the
169 yards, 6.76 yards per attempt, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Then I say the 49ers won like 31-13 or 10. Like I'm really happy with that. So, that's what it was. He doesn't have Justin Jefferson this year. He's not playing against a defense coordinated by Nick Sorensen. So I don't have a whole lot of concern about old Sammy D.
Sorensen catching strays.
Not even strays. I'm not. It's a straight left hook.
It's not a stray. It's
not a stray. It's targeted. This is targeted. Like you can throw the flag for targeting, for me, which he would appreciate. He was a safety. He understands that. So no, but look, you can say that Bill Belichick's trying to get back to the NFL. You don't go to North Carolina to go or not North Carolina, wherever he's at.
North Carolina.
Yeah, North Carolina. You don't go to North Carolina to get to as like your track to get back to the NFL. He is there because wasn't that where his girlfriend went to college?
I don't know. I don't keep up with
either that or he's looking for the next Mrs. Belichick. Like that's where he's looking at. He needs to be close to home so we can cruise sorority row and figure out who's going to be the next Mrs. Belichick. I don't know. I think Bill's just like, look, I basically had no life from the time I started coaching Tom Brady to now because Tom Brady would never let me out of the office ever. And Bill's just living his best life right now. Like that's what he's trying to do. I think that's all he's worried about. And so, go live it up, Bill.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see North Carolina football. Weird. So, all right.
I'm just looking forward to those North Carolina press conferences. Like, why did you get beat? Well, we're dealing with the portal, and there's a whole lot of guys out in the portal, and we can't really bring a whole lot.
We're just focused on South Carolina,
or we're just focused on the next week, and
on Clemson.
That's we got to play better.
That's a good voice. That's a good impression, actually. A little Frank Caliendo there for you. That's pretty good. Pretty solid.
Yeah.
All right. So again, be sure to take your phone, show it to someone wearing Niners gear, and
I mean, look. All this is Adam. I mean, do you really think that if he goes like 9-2 next year, that any team that the Giants are going to be like, yes, let's get you in here because you're going to be focused on football, not on all of the 20 to 25-year-old women in New York. Let's just be real. I mean, do you think it's going to be any different?
So I think